goes live in 2 minutes. Lynn Cullen live in 1 minute. Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com.
What? I know.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to figure out what fell in the garbage
Well, just
can.
leave it.
What do you mean just leave it? It's my... It's the
Yep,
clean.
another fast-paced start to the Lynn Cullen show. More second guessing by your impertinent guest.
Hi, everybody. Hello. It's January 18th.
It is.
That's my birthday.
That,
Uh-huh.
I was going to say something,
Happy birthday.
and you already stepped on it.
To me. You weren't going to say anything.
In part because Jess, your able assistant, was like, you might want to mention that it's Lynn's birthday.
Not really, though. I'm not big on mentioning it.
But you
So why
just
did I?
did. So
Why
you're
did
sending
I
all
do
kinds
that?
of mixed signals this morning. There,
I know
Lynn
I
Cullen.
am. I'm a confused person, but that's probably because of my advancing age. So anyway, birthdays.
So congratulations. Are you officially a taker now? Are you
I'm more of a taker than I was.
excellent? Congratulations.
Well, not really. I'm not taking Social Security yet.
Yeah, okay.
I'm taking free bus rides. I am. And why shouldn't I?
Exactly.
Huh?
Now, are you at the point where they've got the kneeling bus going down? Like,
Yeah, they
beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, they see me. I know they do. They see me, and even the bus bows. Old gray-haired.
I think that's a line from
That's
a line from a Doors song or something. You know, even the P1 crouches at your feet
Yes.
like a dog that's begging for something
Yes.
sweet.
Yes, that's it. That's it. Anyway, yeah. So they just keep coming. There's nothing you can do about it. It just happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll know you're really in trouble when the buses day to the platform comes out. It's like every time that happens, I'm sure your listeners have been. Every time that happens, my stomach just clenches because it seems like one time out of 5 that thing goes out and they can't get it back in on the buses that I'm on.
Oh, is that true? That's never happened.
It's happened to me like so many times, and then the driver's like things like. Usually, happily, the person has never been actually on the platform when that's happened, but then the bus is just like completely stalled.
But stop and think how that came about because of the Americans with Disabilities Act, right?
It didn't.
So you think of all the things that we have done since then that we never would have considered in a million. You know, that's another one of those ideas that I think when you first heard it, you thought, come on.
Right.
You mean all the rest of us are supposed to somehow be inconvenienced because some person in a wheelchair wants to take the bus? There was that sense that, you know, I'm sorry, if you become a disabled person, you're sort of out of the mix. But I mean, in other cultures, that still is the case. And I'm sure there was a lot of reluctance about this. I can't quite remember it.
Probably.
But, and they're probably
from Republicans,
still,
I would expect.
Yeah, well, absolutely from them. But I think even just from generally able-bodied people who say, come on, and how much is this going to cost?
Right.
I mean, just in case someone in a wheelchair wants to get into my restaurant, you got to be kidding me!
Right. Plus, that's what those bike racks are for. Just put them on the front of the bus. That would actually be sort of awesome. I would like to do that just once, just like
ride the front.
Yeah, on like the busway, just like on the bike rack.
But it is funny how you get use rather quickly, and it shows that
we're better than we give ourselves. credit for
I think so. That we need to challenge ourselves more.
Yeah,
and I want to share with you. It has to do with gun control.
Oh, okay.
And one of our listeners wrote an extremely interesting email about it, suggesting that the likes of you and me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I knew what you meant.
No, but is that right? Did I come on the right one?
Yes, I think so.
You're not sure, though?
No, because I don't know what the rest of your sentence is going to be.
The likes of you and me are standing behind, the likes of you and I.
Yeah, because now it's right. That's why. Yeah, right. No.
Okay, the likes of you and I are, want to ban this and curtail that and blah blah blah, and this is the way to do it. Mm-hmm. And this guy says it's as wrong-headed an approach to the problem as the war on drugs, as prohibition, and
because.
Well, because he says we need to do it in another way. We need to do the hearts and minds thing. And I'm thinking, I'm thinking out loud again, as I often do when I'm with you. And here's the thing. It just occurred to me that the Americans with Disabilities Act, that was legislation that preceded the changing of hearts and minds. Would you agree? I mean, I think 1990. Generally, most people thought, come on, or sort of. I mean, kind of. And then once the legislation kicks in and and it becomes the norm, then nobody really notices anymore. So I'm wondering how do you change hearts and minds? Maybe you do both together. There is some legislation, and then there is this concerted effort, like he suggests we did with cigarette smoking. I mean, look at that.
Right. Yeah, you can argue that both. I mean, I'm sort of familiar with that argument more as it applies to some Supreme Court decisions. So on the one hand, Roe v. Wade, for example, where there's an argument out there, and I think it's a credible one, that the Supreme Court got out ahead of the American people by passing or I shouldn't say passing, but issuing a ruling, that was in many ways. I mean, kind of one of those little secrets about American life is because of Roe versus Wade, there are some provisions of the way we approach abortion that are actually more liberal than places in Europe. So on the one hand, and that because it's been you've heard this for years, right? These activist judges handed down blah 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 blah. So there's that on the one hand, and I think that's like there's a good argument to be had there. On the other hand, you look at something like Brown versus Board of Education, where I think there was certainly very parts of the country where that ruling was far ahead of, but I'm glad it was done. I mean, I think there's a fair case that the court shouldn't worry too much about that stuff when it comes to a matter of civil rights and individual liberties, because it's not. Well, that's right. It's not our job to defer to the majority when it comes to that stuff.
I'm talking about legislative action when the legislature is out in front, as with the Civil Rights Act, perhaps, or all of that kind of stuff.
Well, here's what I'd say about it. I think that speaks to this broader point. To some extent, legislation remakes the remakes that landscape. But in this particular case, you can look and see there's been some polling, and I've been surprised by some of the polls that have come out recently that say, when if you ask people about are they in favor of gun control, people tend to say no. But when you ask them, are you in favor of legislation that would limit, magazines to 10 bullets a pop? You tend to get some very positive answers, especially when it comes to things like background checks and making all private sales of firearms registered the way they are when you buy them from a licensed gun dealer. So I'm not sure that I would necessarily agree that this is a case. The hearts and minds may already have been won on some of these issues. Now, I don't know about everything that the president has suggested, but on some of these big ones, I would say we may be further along than
Well, he suggests that in as much as, the people who cling to their guns recognize that there's everything they feared is coming to pass.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yes.
That you just push them further and that it has an absolute opposite reaction. They dig in, they push back.
Right.
They maybe even enlist other people to their paranoid view. They see, look what we're getting.
I told you all this time.
I told you.
Right. That's true, and I think I do think there's a certain irony in that, which is that I've been getting Tea Party emails for years now, of course. And the thing is, the Tea Party hasn't changed. Those emails were warning you, the president's going to come, they're coming. They haven't done it yet, but they're coming. So in a way, maybe it's just the sort of, political equivalent to a clock that stopped being right twice a day. That sooner or later, something was going to happen and there was going to be some kind of response to. I just don't know. So I think that's legitimate, and I think it's sort of worth thinking, okay, how do we approach that? Because you're absolutely right. There are definitely some diehards there. On the other hand, do you allow your entire legislative process, your entire public debate about these issues to be dictated by the craziest people in the room? And so I don't know how you kind of walk that balance of sort of acknowledging it.
Let me just say what he says. He says that our government telling us to stop arming ourselves is like a 400-pound doctor with a cigarette hanging from his mouth waddling into the exam room to tell us to watch what we eat and to stop smoking. He says our whole government is an over-armed, paranoid police force.
Yes.
Every shithole town across this country has a military-type anti-terrorist SWAT response team. There are towns with tanks, for God's sakes.
I agree with that.
And then you will remember this. He says, I walked from Arsenal Park to Susie Kim's when the G20 was in...
Sushi Kim's, I suspect. Yes, down, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Obviously a Asian restaurant of some sort.
It is, just right on the periphery of the Strip District.
When the G20 was in town, and what I saw was exactly what these gun nuts what
has them
wound up, a crazy military police state that is afraid of its citizens and willing to keep them in line. The image of our police and military was enough to make me understand some of the crazy rhetoric.
Right.
There it is.
We get that.
Good? Yeah?
We get that. I agree with that.
Totally.
I agree with that.
Okay. So he's making some really good points. He also is a gun owner, and he also is a liberal, and he also has a concealed carry permit. And he says he tells his liberal friends that trying to outlaw a technology that seems very insurmountable to us, he says, is really, in fact, a very, very simple technology. He says it is if we were try to outlaw bows and arrows. He says, I'll get a branch, some catgut, and a bag of arrows. We're on he says there's all kinds of unintended consequences here. We're stirring the pot of crazies, and they will only get worse. They will create an underground manufacturing system, and we will all be left with is another costly bureaucracy that accomplishes nothing but the occasional prosecution of the unlucky or stupid. Excuse me. Good points here.
Those are some excellent good arguments. Points. Yeah, I mean,
so what do you think? So I was really mulling this all day. I couldn't get it out of my head, and then I'm thinking now, well, why does there have to be either or? He says what we got to do is change hearts and minds, like we did with smoking, drunk driving. Make something that was perfectly okay now not okay. Well, yes, we do need to do that, but in the meantime, we need to try to get a handle on some of the more ludicrous
And I'd say too, there's also a halfway. I mean, I agree with that, and that's the point. There's also a halfway point. It's not like the choice is no gun control and then trying to take guns entirely out of circuit. So I mean, this thing, it's a bit of a canard, the thing with the bows and arrows or whatever. I mean, let's be honest. We already do accept regulation of firearms in this country. For example, you cannot, under most circumstances, buy fully automatic weapons. You can't buy a weapon that you pull the trigger and it just sprays bullets at 100 rounds a minute or whatever. You can't do that. And generally speaking, I don't know that there are a tremendous number of people, I'm sure there are some, but I don't think there's a tremendous, even among the gun rights crowd, who believe that that's a problem. Right? Most people are comfortable not having fully automatic.
Okay, well, I don't know from fully automatic or semi-automatic, but he says if you outlaw semis, he can go down into his shop and within a day or two. I don't think
realistically you could outlaw a semi-automatic. Is basically a gun that fires every time you pull the trigger. There's no other thing you have to, as opposed to say a shotgun where you have to rack the next round, or a single action revolver where you have to pull back the hammer. I mean, a semi-automatic. Most handguns that are sold today are semi-automatics. So I don't think that's a winner. I think the more obvious stuff is things like gun show loopholes, high capacity magazines, and things like that. How about bullets? What about them?
Make those harder to come by.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard various stuff about certain kinds of bullets.
Guns don't go anywhere. Guns are not.
Right, they last forever.
They last forever.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I've heard some stuff about, outlawing certain kinds of bullets, like what are called cop killer bullets or whatever. There's arguments on both sides of that, and I'm just saying that I think sometimes this debate gets polarized real fast.
It does,
and so people act as though like there's some unprecedented thing about putting any kind of regulation on guns, and the truth is there are already regulations that work. They work. There's shootings happen, but that guy who went into Sandy Hook did not have a fully automatic, machine gun, and I don't think there's a ton of gun owners out there who feel that the fact that they can't easily get one is an infringement on their rights. So that's what I'd say.
Okay. All right. Well,
the other side of that too is, are we bummed out by how much firepower our government has? Is that a little creepy?
Yeah.
Yeah, but realistically, is a citizens militia? I mean, ask Al Qaeda how well it's working for them to take up arms against the U.S. government.
That is correct. And here's the other thing, though: who is in favor of arming the U.S. government to the teeth and then some?
Not us.
No, it's the Tea Party types.
Right.
It's the same right-wingers who then say the government is a threat to them.
Yes. And the government is a threat to us, and we need to put more agents in our schools that are armed.
I know. What are they thinking? That's a silly thing. Yeah. Okay. All right. It's a little close to take my break now. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, you can do it. It's a natural. It's an organic place to break.
It is. We've sort of come. And when we return, we're going to take up the two big water cooler subjects.
Oh.
You know what those are?
I know there's a debate about water coolers. No, I don't. What are the water cooler subjects?
Ah, come on. What do you think most people
The fakey guy, the guy's fakey girlfriend.
The guy's fakey girlfriend and?
I don't know.
Lance Armstrong.
Oh, sure. Okay, sure. Really?
Hey.
Is anyone actually surprised? I think we all knew that. Like, I know he came in and said...
That's not the point.
All right. We'll do the thing and then we'll come back. That'll be good.
Such a pushy guest.
Email your questions and comments to Lynn at pghcitypaper.com or call Lynn at 412-316-3381. Lynn Cullen Live will return in a moment.
Lynn Cullen Live and Panera Bread celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King.
After the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. organized an extensive campaign of voter registration in the South. King then turned his attention to poverty. He formed a Chicago Freedom Movement with the goals of school desegregation and improvement, jobs, and housing. King moved his family to a ghetto tenement in Chicago. That summer, rioting broke out in the city's west side.
Countdown to King, brought to you by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health, and Lynn Cullen Live.
Pittsburgh City Paper's annual winter guide is available now. Pick up one today for the best wintertime events in Western PA. Plus, Gin Blossoms, Morrissey, and Chris Webby. Pittsburgh City Paper, available at over 1,700 locations throughout western Pennsylvania, and on the web at pghcitypaper.com, and on your smartphone at citypapermobile.com.
Today, MyCare Navigator forwarded my medical records and freed my mind for other things.
Introducing MyCare Navigator, your 24/7 healthcare co-pilot, new from Highmark.
MyCare Navigator found me the ideal specialist. Less work for me.
MyCare Navigator makes it easier to navigate the system. Call 1-888-BLUE-428 to connect with yours today. Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield is an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Now, it's back to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com.
Now, do you feel sorry
Yes,
for
now.
Steubenville? Jeez. Oh,
boy.
what have they done to deserve that?
I don't know.
We were just talking about the other former water cooler topic of Steubenville. And what?
Just
We have a
phone
call? Oh, okay. We have a call.
We do.
Hello.
Hey, Lynn, are you going to get mad at me if I mention that it's your birthday?
Well, apparently you have not been paying attention.
She
Because-
mentioned at the top.
Oh, someone already did? I'm sorry. I tuned in a few minutes late.
But I will.
I'm usually the first one to tell you happy birthday.
Look.
Well, since the guy died that used to sing you happy birthday.
Oh, that poor sweet man. Do you remember the tune?
No.
Wait a minute. It was to Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Oh, boy.
Pardon me,
Lynn. I heard it was your birthday.
Your
Yeah,
birthday. We're all here to say da 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 da. He had a whole thing. I could. You know what? I was asked by his family to surprise him on his 90th or 95th birthday. And so I showed up at his apartment in Squirrel Hill, and
And he had a heart attack.
Yeah.
I was trying to decide whether I should say that.
No. He was such a cutie. So I had to go in, and I said in my lovely voice, "Pardon me, Milt. I understand today's your birthday."
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it was. Everybody felt real good about it. Yes, but he did die, I think, about a year later or two.
Well, congratulations. You're the best. You're an asset to the community. And do you know you've done more than 767 hours of radio, internet radio, since you started this show?
Are you kidding?
Yeah, I saved them all and downloaded them on a hard drive. That's a lot of hours of talk.
767.
Well, excuse me. Let's talk about this fetish you have.
Well, I'm waiting for when you get kicked off the air again. I want to be able to...
Don't give away my birthday surprise, Michael.
700 got off. Are you sure? So, okay.
Yeah, that's since August 18th of 2009 was your first show.
Hey, do some quick math on how many hours of radio I did.
In your entire career, you mean?
Yeah, if that was 700 in just the last... Oh, it'd be meaning I babbled for tens of thousands of hours.
And here's something else to think about. At least those broadcasts were beamed out into the universe.
They're still out there.
They're still there, traveling towards distant suns.
Oh boy. Could be evidence
You
of
could
life.
You could be like the first evidence some other civilization gets that we were here.
Not to mention, you'll live forever on my hard drive. But hey, if you don't mind, I would like to use your show as a platform to admit that I have been doping to enhance my performance for many, many years. Big time. And actually, a lot of people would argue that it has not enhanced my performance at all, but...
To which you say, just imagine what I would have sounded like without this stuff.
That's right.
Well, that's big of you, Michael. That's big of you.
You know, I thought we were rid of Oprah, that smut peddler, and Lance, that bike peddler, and now I'm not going to be able to watch TV for a week, so we're going to have to look at them. But I'm much more fascinated with this T'eo story, which is...
What do you think?
I don't know. I heard the rumors that maybe he was doing it because he was gay, but then I also, am of the generation where I've actually had very many fulfilling relationships on the internet that were just as fulfilling, I would say, almost as personal relationships. Okay, that's another admission I'm going to have to make. I'm actually involved with someone in a long-distance relationship right now in Australia, and we talk on Skype every day. And in a way, I don't know. I think at this point in my life, it's actually an easier or a better way to have a relationship. Yeah. And for younger people, you could argue, well, you couldn't get more safer sex. Right. I mean, you're not going to catch anything or get pregnant with an imaginary person.
So wait a minute. This is fascinating. So you have achieved intimacy with people you have never physically been with.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, now that to me is evidence of, again, the feminization of the human species. Because that's how women, that means that you're finding satisfaction in a kind of intimacy that does not include penetration.
Right.
Right?
Well, some of these people I have actually met, too.
Right.
Oh, there has been penetration then.
Well, you know, they're just people that you. Okay.
That's the first time I've ever heard him speechless.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to explain.
Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't. I went too far. Give it to the giddy birthday girl. Just move on. But don't you agree with people who say that there's something, if there's no well, Skype at least lets you visually see and hear the tone of a voice. But how odd is it that this T'eo, whatever his name is, never Skyped with this woman and didn't think that was odd?
Well, yeah, his story is actually more extreme. But remember, people used to have pen pals.
That's
and
true.
Didn't people, even, in the Civil War days still have, loves of their lives, and that was through the Pony Express mail.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
Well,
so I think through words and even verbal contact without a physical picture, you can still attain a level of intimacy.
Right.
So there is a possibility that maybe this guy was just duped, but the whole story is so weird.
No, I was thinking yesterday there's no way that this is a legitimate story, and now I'm thinking that maybe, in fact, he was duped, that he was just a naive kind of trusting soul in some ways.
But my understanding was he had told reporters that he had actually
seen her.
Well,
maybe
met this
he did
person
that just because he thought it was weird that he hadn't.
Maybe.
Who knows? He seems like such a nice young man. I don't want him to. I feel so sorry for him.
He is young, and it is so strange, though. And really, why is it really anyone's business except that he brought it up, though?
Right.
Well, but he brought it up because he was already in the public eye. And if he brought it up, though, because he thought it would make him give him the narrative that would put him over the top to get him the Heisman Trophy.
Right. That's what I thought
then
when I saw it.
It's really, then he's not a nice young man. Then he's
That's a pretty cynical view there, Lynn.
Well, but it's one of the ones that obviously is a possibility, don't you
right,
think?
Yeah.
So, Michael, where do you meet somebody on the internet where you end
up
engaging?
These are fans.
You know what?
It's easier for him.
These aren't just strangers or not sex sites or something. These are people I know through...
who love your music. Okay, who love your music. Right. So here...
So we already have a, something,
Okay, so I end up with... So I have that possibility, too.
Okay, I'll Skype you later.
Because I have fans.
Right. Not to mention all those species on other worlds who will receive your radio broadcasts and be interested in meeting you.
But you know what? Some of my dearest friends started as fans. That is true. So I know my brother once said, you mean so most of your friends started out as people who were fans of yours? I said,
sound healthy basis for a
and
relationship.
my brother said, that's pathetic.
Wow.
Well, actually, pretty much all my friends are people that were fans, are fans, or people that I've played with before. So that's pretty much my whole world. But also, I'm surprised though that you can't imagine this sort of foreign intimacy, because in your personal life you are rather reserved when you're not.
I'm very
performing, Lynn. So I could see.
So this
maybe...
is perfect. This would be a perfect way for me to have a relationship.
Yeah.
Michael, you've opened my eyes. Thank you. That might be the greatest gift.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes, intimacy.
No, I know there's something really wrong with it too, and ultimately it is a dead end road. But you can see, I can see how it could happen to the kids. So that's why I'm so fascinated by that story.
Yeah,
and also, you gotta love the French because they were throwing rotten fruit at Lance like after the second time he won.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I just want to say, no, you don't have to love the French.
Well, just because they burned McDonald's and threw rotten fruit at Lance.
All right, in that one instance, we will love the French. You are always a delight to hear, and thank you for remembering my birthday.
Well, thank you for all these years and hours of fantastic entertainment.
Oh, God. I'm going to start.
You take care. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks.
Oh, bye.
Speaking of an unhealthy basis for a relationship, jeez. Look, I can actually feel you eating that up.
I am not eating that up. I'm feeling.
No, just kidding.
He's right, because he's met me now in person, and I think he was surprised that I'm not like I am on.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah.
That I'm really sort of.
Yeah. I'm not.
Shy.
I had you marked for a shrinking violet the first time.
Did you really? Yeah. Really, I am one effed up human being. I gotta tell you this. Okay. No, so we should. That was Michael from.
Yes, Polish Hill.
Michael
from the Cynics.
Polish Hill, the
dynamic Cynics frontman. I think is how
dynamic Cynics
frontman. I think that's how you have to describe him. It's in our style guide up at the paper. Michael is always, the Cynics dynamic frontman, comma.
And he's been doing that for a long time. Yeah. Shocked to hear he was doping.
I'm not. I've seen him perform. I may have been under the influence of a foreign substance as well.
Speaking of that, I wanted to say that when I got on the bus today and sat down, the overwhelming odor of marijuana was so unbelievable that it was with me through the entire trip, and I was looking at the guy sitting next to me. I never saw his face because he was like down like this, and I thought at first he was passed out, but then it turns out there was an open book on his lap.
Right.
I'm not sure if it was emanating from him or somebody behind me.
Or...
It wasn't me. And I got woo.
Yeah.
I thought I maybe had a little bit of a contact high when I came in here. I just wanted to warn you.
No, thank you. That information would have been more helpful half an hour ago, but I cleared some stuff up from the start.
I think we're doing okay, aren't we?
I guess this just points me up from a guy from a affluent bedroom community. But I'm still always surprised just walking down the street in the middle of the day when you'll pass somebody who
and they're smoking.
It's just it always just like I don't know. Isn't that how you get arrested? But I guess cops have better things to do than worry about harmless people, which is a good thing, but still amazes me.
Should I tell you where I have publicly smoked pot?
Sure. At Fresh Fest 2 back at the Civic Arena in '85?
No.
Okay.
PNC Park.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, who can blame you?
Yeah, I had to.
Got to do something to take the edge off.
Well, you can't smoke there in general, so I wandered out to the little thing. I was really. Oh, she's gonna spit something all over. Don't spit it out. Swallow. Oh my God, she's gonna spit.
It's gonna be a choking hazard. This is it.
You got it.
I'm okay.
Seems to me that's the least they could do is just let you get a bus on in peace.
First of all, if a cop were to walk by an old woman with a free bus pass, smoking marijuana, do you think they would do anything?
Are you saying they'd ask to see the bus pass first before deciding how to adjudicate your case? I see, ma'am. Don't go right on your way.
No, but if I were a young black kid
that might
smoking, then they go after him.
Yeah.
No, old white ladies, you want to smoke pot? Go right out on Smithfield, I swear. You'll get some looks, but nobody's going to arrest you.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
All right, why don't you try it? This could be the stuff of which WTAE TV careers are made of. We'll just get a secret camera and just watch you get baked on Smithfield Street and see what anybody does. And then just grab passersby and be like, Dave's not here, man. And see just like escalate it.
PJ just said, if it weren't for the French, we wouldn't be speaking English right now.
Yes, because they helped us in the Revolutionary War.
Oh, we'd still be speaking English.
Oh. Yeah, that doesn't...
Let me tell you, if it weren't for us, the French would be speaking German.
Oh.
Is that right?
Yep.
They did come to our aid in the early years. Mm-hmm. We have more than returned the favor.
I mean, the export of Jerry Lewis films alone should have settled the debt.
And how about those unbelievable, that Algerian SWAT team?
Yeah, what happened with that? I just saw they shot up the place. So I mean, were hostages killed? What I mean?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. That sounds great.
And the U.S. and other countries that had hostages,
and nobody knew what.
Please, just sit on this for a second. No, we're going in those. Man, crack commando unit. Hello.
Hey, that's a joke. If it wasn't for the French, we'd be speaking English right now.
That was a joke?
Our English pales in comparison to proper English.
Oh, I see. So it's really a joke about our own sorry
state of the American English
dialect,
language,
as it were. Yeah.
Excuse me, but American English is what is now still peppering other languages all over the world with our verbiage, isn't it? True?
Yeah.
We're the most...
USA!
Is he gone? Yep.
But
funny.
It's true because we are the cultural, we overwhelm the globe culturally, we overwhelm the globe militarily, we overwhelm the globe still, even economically. We overwhelm the globe in so many ways that our language, however different it is from the Queen's English, is it's now this is a riot, the lingua franca.
Yes.
I got it out, but
yeah.
Because it used to be French.
Yes.
But now every pilot in the world who's flying a plane and is flying anywhere outside of his country or her country has got to be able to communicate in English.
Yeah, probably with the same
air
accent.
traffic controllers have to speak English. Everybody speaks English, and it's not the Queen's English.
But even a lot of people in Britain don't really speak to Queen's English. If you've ever been to Manchester or some other of those communities, it's almost impossible
That's for
to
sure.
understand.
Did you ever watch King of the Hill? The
cartoon?
The cartoon. These four guys standing around drinking beer, talking. There's one of them. Jess knows what I'm talking about. What's I can't think of his name.
I forget.
He talks like this. You don't understand a word he says, but it does sound like, yes, a form of American English. You cannot, you do not understand a word. Oh boy. So what do you think? I see. Are you looking at the clock again?
No, not at all. Aw, somebody else sent nice birthday wishes.
Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Laura.
Yeah.
Laura is my brother's secretary, administrative assistant kind of person, and she listens to the show now, much more than he does. I just broke my pen, but isn't that neat?
It is neat.
She found me all by herself or something. Yeah.
That is neat.
So I'm a big fan of Laura's. I haven't met her yet, but
she puts up with your brother, so she
puts up with my brother, and I think she has told me she sees a lot of similarities in the way we comport ourselves.
Really?
You know, those familial traits. When you get together, when people see you with your sibling and your parents and stuff, do people say, "Oh, well, now I see where you..." No.
I don't know. We're not often together, so thanks for bringing that up. No, I'm just kidding. I'm sure they do.
Okay.
We both drink our beer the same way, my brother and I. We when we hold beer bottles up to our mouths, it's at a slight angle, which people have noticed. I don't know whether it's a genetic thing or something else, but.
Well, of course it's at a slight angle, or it won't go down your throat.
No. Like it's like to the side, sort of. It's
like
explain.
Like this?
Kind of like that. Not as exaggerated as that, but yeah.
Well, that's odd.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a genetic thing, apparently.
I doubt that. We'll be back, I think.
Or not. We might just scrub this.
Right.
Here's on the way with Lynn Cullen Live.
Go to bergbargains.com for great deals on meals from your favorite local restaurants, museums, and shows. This week only, get discounts up to 20% on gift cards to P.F. Chang's. Supplies are limited. bergbargains.com, Pittsburgh's best bargains. bergbargains.com.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we've got a pep talk that can motivate you.
Sometimes things don't always turn out the way you want them to.
You can improve your future. Now get your game face on and take the first step towards a better life. Hurry up. Don't make me repeat myself.
Whatever level of motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Call 1-877-38-YOUR-GED or visit yourged.org for your pep talk and for free classes in your area. GED is a registered trademark of the American Council on Education, brought to you by Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Lynn Cullen Live at pghcitypaper.com. Once again, here's Lynn Cullen.
Yeah, once again, here she is. It is, some people just don't. I know. Some people really don't know when it's time to leave. There's a reason they set retirement dates.
Was I supposed to go?
No. I was thinking. No, you wonder.
Thanks for coming. Time to go to break.
People who stay too long at the fair,
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I hope I'm not one of them.
We'll let you know.
I'm not sure people will.
Oh.
They'll say, we wouldn't want to hurt her feelings. I mean, after all.
We'll just unplug the computers.
Let her think she's talking to people. If you take this away from her, I mean, what does she have?
Oh, no.
She's alone. Her son is gone. Oh, yes, 2 cats. But
that just makes it sadder.
It does. I mean, she can't spend all her time sitting there on Skype
looking for love.
Looking for love.
In all the wrong places.
Oh, dear. So, anyway. Oh, somebody told me the other day, if you say, oh, dear, that's a mark of being old. And I don't, because like old ladies say, oh, dear.
Yeah.
I think you do. Jess says, oh,
Jess
dear.
does.
So that's, yeah.
But Jess has a weird vibe going on.
Yeah, she does. She does.
She's like a throwback to a different era.
In a way, yeah. She's a strange one. I agree.
Let's bring her in front of the camera and just unpack Jess's personality. That'll be your birthday present.
Yeah.
Flaying other people alive in front of an audience.
Let's eviscerate Jess.
My birthday gift to you is blood sport.
All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, did you see Django?
No. Mm-mm.
And you're not going to. Oh, you're all up in a.
No, I'm not.
I'm done
I have
with
X amount of time.
Tarantino.
I have X amount of time to see movies these days, and that's probably not one of them.
Here's another one you don't want to see: Zero Dark 30.
Oh, so see, I'm interested in seeing that.
I saw it. What was so funny about it?
I don't know. It was just, the timing was just like Swiss watch. Just the perfect pause. Oh, Lordy.
Okay. So, no, I personally found it dull.
Oh, really?
Difficult. And unsatisfying. But go see it.
But other than that, it was fantastic.
Other than that, it was great, I'll tell you. So, okay, did we deal with the T'eo story a little bit? And then we deal with, I watched a little bit of Oprah with Lance. I always say that almost every man I know named Lance is gay, but he's not.
My stepsister's husband is named Lance.
I'm sorry, but an unbelievable percentage of Lances seem to be gay. And I'm wondering, I'm not kidding you.
Whether there's some sort of connection.
If you name your boy Lance, you're going to have a gay child. I don't know. The odds go up.
Right, but we have to be careful about correlation and causation. It could be that there's a genetic factor that there's a chromosome.
Well,
there's a chromosome that A makes it more likely that your child will be gay, and B makes it more likely that you will name your son Lance. Both of those. That could be a single gene.
I think that could be true because I know, granted, this will not pass any kind of scientific scrutiny.
Right.
But just in my long life, it just seems like a lot of Lances.
Yeah, but then there's that problem with confirmation bias. Now you'll just remember every Lance that you know who's
Well, that's
gay.
true, but Lance Armstrong is obviously not.
Right.
But I'll tell you what he is. A Class A jerk.
Yeah.
He's just awful. You know how often when we do this cultural watch somebody beg for our forgiveness, come clean thing we do?
And then we do it.
And then we elevate them again.
Right.
They have to, this is what we have to do. Shame, shame, shame them. He is
not going to be that story.
I don't think so. I don't think so. He is extraordinarily unlikable. There's a hardness to him.
Yeah.
That is, maybe why he was a great athlete.
Probably.
But he is not, ugh.
Plus.
Says something about Sheryl Crow, too, I must say.
Yeah. Plus, the other thing with him is he spent all of that time denying it for all these...
And ruining other people's lives.
Just up until just a few months ago, he was still sticking to the thing.
Ruining other people's lives.
Yeah.
And then I think I couldn't watch it after a while. I literally couldn't watch. I said, I don't want to watch this. To hell with you, goodbye. And I watched some bad movie instead. But I believe, I read something today that when he was asked about this woman who had been a masseuse to the team, who he destroyed... Because she did tell the truth, I think, in a newspaper article. He went after her. He pretty much broke her. He broke her financially because he sued her. She didn't have money.
Right.
And I think he was asked about her, and he couldn't quite remember which one that was. And he said something like, I've sued so many people, I'm not sure which one which particular little person life that I was trying to destroy there.
Yeah.
I can't remember. Which one was she?
Yeah.
And I thought, that's it. I cannot watch this anymore. Cannot watch this. Ugh.
Yeah. The other thing, too, from a journalistic standpoint, is there's I can't remember which British paper it was.
No, it was the
British
London
paper,
Times, I think.
Settled for $500,000 bucks
Well,
or something.
that might have been the newspaper she talked to.
Yeah, so it'll be, it's sort of an interesting thing there.
Now he's got to pay it back.
At this point, does he have to? Yeah.
You bet he does. I know they're already starting some kind of legal proceedings to get that. Okay. So we're having such a good time. Do you think I should bring up something a little political?
Sure.
Okay. You know where the Republicans are now?
I don't know physically where they are. I can't remember, but I know they're having their
Williamsburg.
Retreat. Oh. That makes sense.
To figure out how to get pointed in the right direction, forward, they go back.
Back to 1783
They go back
or whatever,
to, in fact, a plantation.
Yeah.
A former plantation. Where they are the Burwell Plantation Room at the resort, where they are holding a session called Discussion on Successful Communications with Minorities and Women. And where are they doing this? On a former plantation, ladies and gentlemen. And the people that are heading the panel that is supposed to look into how do we get more women and minorities in is made up of 3 white guys.
Yep. Baby steps, Lynn. Baby steps. First, you get the white guys to acknowledge.
Oh, no, they say they are going to include several women. And here is Representative Greg Walden of Oregon explaining that to the reporter. No, we're going to also have several women. And he was asked by the intrepid reporter.
I, for example, play and ask my better half.
Well, yes, all right. Like who? Like what women are going to be there? And he said this. Well, I think there's some woman from CNN and Sean Duffy's wife.
Some broad from CNN. You know, one of the skirts. This reminds me of, as I'm so often reminded of the Reagan administration, James Watt, the Secretary of the Interior, was once questioned about the diversity in his own thing, and he said, we have a black, a woman, 2 Jews, and a cripple.
That's right. One of the greatest lines of all time. I love that guy. And they got rid of him eventually. I'm thinking, oh no, he's one of the funniest people who ever was in the cabinet. You sure you got the quote right?
I'm pretty sure. It was a black woman, 2 Jews, and a cripple. I think so.
I remember. Now that's funny.
It is funny.
All right.
No, that sounds great. I'm looking forward to hearing what they come up with. Also, if they're in Williamsburg, maybe an entire economic program to advance the cause of blacksmithing in our country, like the critical barrel making sector of America's economy could use some stimulus.
God Almighty.
Lower tax rate for farriers.
Farrier, is that somebody who makes?
I think it's a horse. They make.
Nah, you think no? I
think it's got something to do.
A horse thing?
Yeah, I think it's a horse-related industry.
You do? Farrier.
Yeah, farrier.
Check it out.
Yeah.
I know he plays for the
F-A-R-R, except he spells
plays for the Steelers.
F-A-R-R-I-E-R, I think so. Yeah.
Are you sure it's an E-R?
Yeah, Farrier, the linebacker, spells it O-R.
O-R, but I'm not so sure. So what?
Hoof care.
Well, he cares for hooves.
Yeah, trying to jam me up on my 19th century.
Huh? Trimming and balancing hooves.
Don't try to jam me up on my 19th century
you're right about farrier.
occupations.
Well, there's other occupations that you don't know quite what they are. Of course, I can't think of any right now.
Alt weekly editor.
That's right. That would be true, too.
Internet talk show host.
You know, your laugh is starting to have a creepy old man quality.
Yeah, and not just my laugh either, unfortunately.
All right, so I think enough frivolity.
Oh, okay.
Bore us silly with talk about the upcoming mayoral election.
I could easily bore you silly. Is there a particular aspect of the? Oh,
no, okay. But okay. So I know you weren't here on Wednesday because you were covering
the Michael Lamb campaign.
Michael Lamb's. So we got Peduto, we got Lamb, we got Ravenstall, and is that going to be it? I hope, please.
Probably. It doesn't. It does not seem at this point. There had been talk about Jack Wagner, the former state auditor general.
Just another white man.
But I think if he enters, I think the talk now is that he's more likely to enter as an independent and challenge in November than to get into the Democratic field.
I think that's smart.
Yes, it would be smarter than him getting into the Democratic field now.
I think that's very smart. Because don't you think Ravenstall will come out of the primary? If you want to go one-on-one, that's the way to do it.
That's how you do it, right.
Well, why don't Lamb and Peduto know that?
I don't know that... I don't know that they don't exactly.
They're just too much Democrats.
And I think it's hard too. I think it's one of those things. It's kind of the Nixon to China thing, maybe. You know, Wagner's been around forever. He's got name recognition. It's very hard to win It's very hard to win other than in the Democratic primary. But you have to. But Wagner's got a name that people know. So that's the kind of advantage I think you'd have to run that way. Win that way.
Speaking of Wagner, did you see that he is absolutely refusing to have anything to do with the new information about the bruises on Natalie Wood's body?
Huh? Can I borrow your pop bottle? Because I want to do a little routine I saw a few minutes ago.
No.
Okay.
No, that'd be Robert Wagner.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
All right.
No, I totally was like...
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I just heard Wagner, and then
right.
he had
That's
a name,
okay.
you know.
No. Yes, I understand.
Jack, Robert, who the hell cares?
Right.
Got to stick with me here.
So it'll be...
boring.
You brought it up.
Okay. So here's something a little... and we know this, but you got to watch these guys. What do Republicans do when they lose? First of all, they scream and pout and threaten insurrection and secession, and they go have little focus groups on southern plantations. And then they get down to business.
Mm-hmm.
And they think, okay, well, if the voters won't elect us, what do we do to rig the rules so that we get elected anyway?
Right.
So this is and this is what they are now about to do, and they're going to target us in Pennsylvania. They will target a state like Wisconsin. They will target a state like Ohio. All of these bizarre states that are run by Republican governors, run by Republican legislatures who vote Democrat in the national elections, presidential elections. And so they have decided that they're going, because they got the legislatures, they're going to get those Republican legislatures, and they're going to get them to change the way that the state parses out its electoral college votes. So in other words, the way it works now, whoever wins Pennsylvania or whoever wins Wisconsin or Ohio walks away. It's winner take all. That's the way it's always been, the electoral college, at least in most states, the vast majority of states. These guys are now saying, here's what we want to do, because it's much more democratic, actually.
We won't do it in the states we win, but...
Yeah. We're going to do those proportionately. And they figured out that if you did what they've looked at the vote, how it works, blah, blah, blah. And if you could institute what they would like to institute, it is conceivable that the presidential election we just had, where Obama had more than 4 million more votes than Mitt Romney, the way they want to rejigger, they could have had Romney squeaking out a win in the Electoral College. 4 million votes shy.
Yep.
Well, how do we get these friggin' idiots, our neighbors, to stop putting these Republicans in the legislature so that they can then take away our vote in the national elections?
Right. And the problem now is our next legislative election will be governed by districts drawn by the current Republican majority.
Republicans,
so
with the rules that have to do with voter ID, all of this stuff intended to take away what the voters want.
Yeah, this is why I would say the probably the best shot will be the next gubernatorial election, which is 2014, and that's where you really have to stop it. That's where Democrats really have to stop it. It's actually been interesting watching Tom Corbett in the past couple days. I mean, they're freaking. They are freaking the Republicans, because the polling data for him is
abysmal. He's like the lowest rated Republican.
Which is weird, because he's not the biggest jerk.
I know. I mean, like Rick Scott in Florida, or and I think, is he the one lower rated?
Yeah,
maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
Did you hear what he did with his dog?
No, but I know it sounds good.
Oh my God, Rick Scott. Okay, so he's a businessman. He's not a politician, but he's going to be that's because Florida needs a businessman, not a politician as governor. So he enters the primary, and he wins. So he becomes the Republican nominee for governor in Florida. And then I guess his team said, you're a little, we're
not
missing
warm
something.
enough.
So they sent somebody down to the pound, and they came back with, of course,
a lovable dog.
A lab.
Yeah.
A Labrador.
Right.
All right. So then pictures are taken with the governor and the lovable lab and his children and wife. And the campaign literature goes out. You know where I'm going here?
Is the dog put down after the photos are taken?
Well, not quite that.
Are the kids put down after the photos are
taken? Soon after he won, the dog was returned.
Yeah.
Is that the sickest thing you've ever heard?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Oy.
You served your purpose. Thank you.
What was I supposed to do? I mean, my purpose was what? To horrify?
No, I mean, he was saying to the dog.
You've served your purpose. Goodbye. Yeah. Right. Unbelievable.
Oh, man.
Oh. Well, we really got to do something about this. And in fact, I mean, what the Republicans are up to. And listen to this, they're very open about it. RNC Chairman Reince Priebus. What kind of a name is that?
I don't know. That's a problem for them, I think, yeah.
Reince Priebus endorsed the idea, and other Republican leaders support it, suggesting that this effort may be gaining momentum. There are other signs that Republican state legislators, governors, and political strategists are seriously considering making the shift as the party looks to rebound. So they lost by the rules. They lost.
Change the rules.
Change the rules because they know they don't have the hearts and minds of the majority of American people. And they're in a position to change the rules, folks, because you idiots keep electing these radical lunatics to the state legislatures. Shall we start naming names? Look at the people.
By all means.
Daryl Metcalf, anyone?
Yeah. That is Exhibit A.
Well, they're everywhere. They're all over the place. Oy, oy, oy. Well, there you have it. I'm done.
You made it.
I did. I made it. That was it. And so?
So you gonna go out and take advantage of birthday deals now and stuff, or?
No, and in fact, I have a very busy day. I'm going to the gym to work out. And then, by the way, you know my 90-year-old mother told me when I was talking to her on the phone the other night? She said, "Do you know what I do when I talk to you?" I said, "Play bridge," because I know she's on the she's on the computer. You can tell sometimes when you
hear a clicking sound.
Yeah, her attention span's going. I said, "No."
Maybe she was striking up a romance with a player from Notre Dame.
Right, exactly. She said, "No." She says, "I'm standing on one foot," and I said, "You're standing on one foot?" She says, "Yes. When I'm on the phone now, I stand on one foot. And then perhaps the other foot. But I stand on one foot." And I said, "Great, Mom." And she says, "You have to keep your legs strong, and you have to have good balance. Because the thing that'll kill someone like me is a fall." And so she's in training all the time. She's talking on the phone and balancing on one leg.
Man, she sounds like a hard case.
You know,
does she ever just like hold her hand over a candle flame to prove how tough she is?
She sets the bar pretty damn high.
Yeah, I would say so.
So I have to admit that at the bus stop today, I was standing on one leg. I was standing on one foot. I didn't
set up your career as future stork lady of the East Busway. Congratulations.
I'm just telling you, that's what you got to do. Okay, that was my words of wisdom for the day. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll see you again Monday.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper, Steel City Media, and its advertisers.